All right, let's dig into the frigid world of blizzards, those overwhelming winter storms that shroud cities in a blanket of snow, bringing the rhythm of daily life to an eerie standstill. Imagine the usual hustle and bustle, frozen mid-step, the sounds muffled by the thick curtain of falling snow. Our exploration today isn't about any ordinary snowfalls. These are snowstorms of such magnitude that they've become legend, etched in the annals of meteorological history for their severity and the sheer chaos they've caused. As we brace against the virtual cold, we'll delve into the top 5 snowstorms, examining not only their brute force, but the inspiring resilience of communities that faced these wintry behemoths. Let's begin over a century ago with the infamous Great Blizzard of 1888, a storm that is often mentioned in hushed tones, its very name evoking images of snowdrifts as tall as houses and a city at a complete standstill. This historic snowstorm descended upon the northeastern United States with little warning, an aspect of its legend that underscores the dramatic advancements in weather forecasting we've come to rely upon today. The tempest brought with it a staggering amount of snow. Estimates suggest up to 55 inches in some areas, with snowdrifts piling up to glorious yet terrifying heights of over 50 feet in places. The chaos it caused is hard to overstate. Major cities like New York were snarled up in frosty gridlock. Transportation systems ground to a halt, and the population, then unused to such extreme conditions, found themselves stranded in a frozen urban wilderness. Imagine entire train services frozen in their tracks, the steam engines of the age unable to push through the accumulating snow. The loss of life was significant, with hundreds believed to have perished in the unexpected cold snap. And as we discuss this storm of the past, consider for a moment if you've ever experienced a blizzard of such magnitude. While we're not hoping for a repeat performance, your stories and experiences are valuable. Feel free to share your most memorable winter storm encounters in the comments below. It's always enriching to connect through shared experiences, especially those as universally challenging as dealing with nature's might. But let us move forward in time to a storm that perhaps some of our viewers may recall. The blizzard of 1978. This cataclysmic weather event tore through the northeastern United States, leaving behind it a trail of devastation and stories that would be passed down through generations. What made the blizzard of 1978 particularly noteworthy was not just the volume of snow, with some regions blanketed by more than 27 inches, but the strength of the gale-force winds that accompanied it. These gusts created snowdrifts up to 15 feet high and left over 5,000 vehicles stranded on Massachusetts roads alone. The storm surge associated with the blizzard also breached the coastal defenses, leading to severe flooding. It's a harrowing thought. The combination of ice, snow, and water, creating a scenario no amount of modern infrastructure could entirely withstand. In the next part, we'll examine the remarkable feats of human perseverance and adaptation in the face of such overwhelming snowstorms, and how these lessons have fundamentally changed our approach to winter weather preparedness. Communities affected by these historical blizzards had to marshal all their resources to contend with the aftermath, a testament to human resilience in the face of nature's most challenging conditions. And before we continue, I invite you to hit the subscribe button if you're interested in more deep dives into historical events and how they shape our understanding of the present. Your support means the world to us and helps ensure we can keep bringing you content that informs, inspires, and connects us all through the fascinating stories of our past. Continuing our journey through these icy giants of history, we land in the snow-covered streets of the late 19th century once more, with the Great White Hurricane of 1888. This monumental blizzard struck with such fury that it has been etched into the memory of the northeastern United States and parts of Atlantic Canada. The horrifying beauty of this storm lay not just in the crippling 50 inches of snowfall across some locales, but in the hurricane-force winds that buffeted the eastern seaboard. Like an icy fist, it shattered infrastructure, uprooting daily life in an era when even the technology we take for granted was in its infancy. Telegraph poles snapped like twigs, cutting off vital lines of communication, while railroad tracks morphed into iron ribbons lost under mounds of snow, making travel an impossibility. The darkness that fell upon the cities, bereft of their electric lifelines and isolated by mountainous snow dunes, marked a significant moment in disaster preparedness. This was a time of transformation, where the crippling limitations of the period's infrastructure were laid bare and out of necessity. The first seeds of our modern emergency response and weather forecasting were sown. It is in these frigid moments of history that the blueprint for our current relationship with winter's wrath begins to take shape. Let's vault again in time to the blizzard of 1967, which descended upon Chicago with such might that it has since been remembered as the Chicago Blizzard. The Windy City found itself at the mercy of nature's whim when over 23 inches of snow cascaded from the sky, an amount that remains one of the largest single-storm snowfalls the city has ever confronted. This storm did more than just paint the city white. It brought an unforgiving standstill to the bustling metropolis. Thousands of motorists found themselves stranded along the city's famed Lakeshore Drive, their vehicles becoming unintended snow sculptures as the blizzard relentlessly continued. The public response was a mixture of alarm and ingenuity, as people adapted to conditions that were unprecedented in living memory. It was in the shadow of this whiteout that improvements were galvanized in snow removal strategies and public safety policies, changes that would lay the foundations for how cities like Chicago manage severe winter weather today. And finally, we arrive at a more recent chapter in our frosty retrospective, Snowmageddon of 2010. A name like Snowmageddon might sound hyperbolic, but for those on the mid-Atlantic coast, the nom de guerre is well-deserved. This blizzard brought with it record-breaking snowfall, toppling previous metrics and leaving cities blanketed in layers that would measure in several feet rather than inches. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and Baltimore were just a few of the urban centers to feel the storm's full might, with snow piling high enough to render cars, as well as the rhythm of commerce and daily life, practically invisible beneath its weight. Municipalities struggled to maintain the pace with the deluge, battling against the ceaseless fall of snow that threatened to outmatch their capacity to clear it. The response to this challenge marked another evolution in disaster management, especially in cities unaccustomed to such scale of winter siege, highlighting the remarkable human capacity to adapt and triumph over calamity. As we've trekked through these tales of snow and struggle, it's clear that each blizzard we've discussed was not only an event of meteorological significance, but a milestone in human tenacity and adaptation. If you have thoughts or insights on how these historical storms compare to the challenges we face with extreme weather today, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Your participation helps us build a community that's robust, insightful, and continually engaged with the lessons of our shared history. Remember to like this video if you found it insightful, and consider subscribing to stay updated on future deep dives into history's most captivating events. We're always here to unpack the stories that define our world, one detail at a time. And with that, we wrap up our journey through the blizzards of doom. Thank you for braving the storm with us today.